From the heart of the Cape, this is Barnstable Today for Thursday, November 13th. Welcome aboard. I'm Mark Mumford.
Plans for a proposed Hilton Garden Inn are detailed in front of the Barnstable Planning Board. That's our top story. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kevin Friel.
The proposal for the 133-room business class hotel comes from well-known developer Stu Bornstein.
The targeted location is a stretch of Route 28 in Hyannis, not far from the airport in the Hyannis Gateway District.
The land encompasses two empty buildings at 333 and 349 Iono Road.
Bornstein and members of his development team appeared before the planning board earlier this week.
We've been before the board, I believe, once before. We've been through site review a few times. We've had different comments. We gave everybody a blue binder with a bunch of questions that the site review has and growth committee has asked us for, and we think we've answered everything that was requested of us. Some of the high points that this is a green building. 25% of the energy generated will be renewable. Everything built will be recycled materials. About 30 or 40% of the building. And I say green building, I don't mean to be, you see the plants on it, that's on three sides of the building. That's quite an extensive, there's 21 or 23 different species of plants in there. There's a specialty company we'll be using, two companies as a matter of fact, to install it. This hotel will employ on per shift an average of about anywhere from 15 to 20 people. The town gets 4% of the sales volume and taxes for the rooms, besides sales tax. We will be providing shuttle bus service between the hotels for downtown Hyannis and the malls and the airport.
Following Bornstein to the podium in the town hall hearing room was the project architect, Rolf Biggers of the BMA Architectural Group.
This is based on a Hilton Garden Inn prototype hotel. The closest example you probably have to here is a Hilton Garden Inn that was built a few years ago in Plymouth, Massachusetts. And it's typically a simple synthetic stucco box with a peaked roof, and it's relatively generic. It's designed to fit from Kansas to Orlando to Seattle, which isn't quite what is suitable for here. And that's where Mr. Bornstein retained us to really push the envelope and come up with something that's more suitable to this particular setting. In looking at this and the character of especially this particular part of Hyannis, it's a number of smaller buildings, 1- and 2-story buildings. High visibility from the airport because you have a large amount of contiguous open space where there's a strong amount of visibility. For a lot of people, it's the first time they see Cape Cod and Hyannis because they come in from the air. And
Planning Board member Ray Lang brought up concerns with the proposal, including height.
When we discussed height initially in the growth incentive zone, that was a very difficult decision for us to make because everyone we consulted with didn't want to go up 1 foot over what we had. And when we came up with a 4-story, if you want to put it that way, 40 feet, it was almost like heresy, and fortunately we did enough homework to be able to get that through. But I noticed right away that people push an envelope as soon as you set a limit. All of a sudden, it's something that seems to be like telling the kid not to touch a hot stove. Now, all of a sudden, we're up to 50 feet next to an airport, which always surprised me. But I don't like that. I would ask this group, the group that presented now, what is the minimum number of rooms that a hotel like this would need to survive? And does that mean that it could get by with 3 stories? Or even 2 stories, and essentially be a profitable operation. Because you got a Ramada Inn and you got Holiday Inns, and they're big, but I don't see them 4, 5, 6 stories. And yet I see you know, somewhere along the line, something could probably work out with lesser height and lesser impact on the area in which they're going to be built.
Okay. Signs were the focal point at the latest session of the Hyannis Main Street Waterfront Historic District Commission.
In this case, more than 3 dozen colorful wooden signs originally crafted almost a decade ago.
Cynthia Cole, who heads up the Hyannis Main Street Business Improvement District, made her case for the signs.
And what we can do is Megan Kenny is here in the capacity of working with us at this point, as opposed to being on your board tonight, which she would be serving. This would be her first night serving with you, I think. But she can't because she'd have a conflict because she's actually representing us. And she's painted these signs, and we wanted to share those with you. That way you get to see the color, with the exception of the dark blue. We do not have the dark blue signs painted yet, but Megan does have a Pantone chip for that.
Okay.
So if you want us to show you the sign, show you the signs and some of the icons, we can do that.
I would appreciate that.
Well, this is the font that we were chosen to use. We chose it.
What do you call that one?
It's called Mona Lisa. It's a fairly standard font, being decorative but not being overwhelmingly gaudy or.
And who's
Really classic font, but it's you've been able to read it from far away. It's
who
really,
calls it a Mona Lisa?
the person that designed it, the person that invented the font. That's just like if it's not Arial or whatever.
Committee Chair George Jessup expressed some concerns about just how user-friendly the signs may be.
See what I'm saying? The letter, the serif at the bottom of each of the letters, as you get, well, the word ship. If you look at steam, the T, top of the T is quite readable, top of the E is quite readable, the bottom of the E is quite readable. Hell, the middle of it is readable. But when you get down to the end, where you have the H, I, and P, the feet are thinner and disappear at a distance.
Generally speaking, though, you don't really look at each letter when you read a word.
No, you don't look at each letter.
Pretty
but,
much.
Right.
You grab the whole
yeah, but if they're balanced, then it reads easily. If they're not balanced, it doesn't read easily. The volume of the space between the letters, as opposed to the actual spacing of the letters, is more important. That's why the executive typewriter actually makes a greater space between certain letters. Mm-hmm. And that's why a typesetting gets an extra space between certain letters. But your average
I would think that
inexpensive typewriter doesn't do that.
I would think that the A and the M there could be.
That's the volume, the space that you're reading. You see,
Yeah.
you read the volume. And when you look at the H and the I, they are much closer together. So
The committee decided to schedule a site tour of Main Street and other areas where the signs would be installed before revisiting the issue.
Meanwhile, in the weather picture, it may be on the gray and damp side for a while. Tonight, rain with patchy fog expected. Winds gusting out of the south may be as strong as 30 miles per hour, and the mercury hovering right around 50. Then tomorrow, not a whole lot of change. Cloudy with a chance of some lingering rain and drizzle in the morning. Southwest winds gusting to about 20 and highs in the upper 50s.
As far as the meeting schedule is concerned, the Charter Commission gets back to it at 7 o'clock this evening in the Town Hall hearing room. And don't forget, that session and many of the meetings here in town will be carried live right here on Channel 18.
And we hate to bring up thoughts of ice and snow, but the town is preparing for whatever Mother Nature has to offer this winter.
If you are a contractor with a plow and you are interested in a boost to your cash flow potential, contact the Barnstable DPW. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Kevin Friel.
We'll meet you right back here tomorrow. I'm Mark Mumford.